Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Latif and today I'm trying to explain how you can defend Manchester City set attacks. We will look at two matches about defending Manchester City set attacks. Manchester City vs Tottenham and Manchester City vs Everton. Let's start with Tottenham match. Against Tottenham, Manchester City tried to make game with 2-3-5 and Tottenham were in 5-4-1 lineup in set defenses. When Manchester City's one stopper had the ball, Manchester City's one center midfielder and center forward close to midfield to take the ball, but they couldn't take the ball. When stopper had the ball, Tottenham's one of the center midfielders close to stopper. He wasn't aggressive and stopper had time and space to make game until stopper reached midfield's front. But also, when center midfielder close to stopper, he cut the connection between Manchester City's stopper and center forward, so stopper couldn't pass to center forward. Manchester City's center midfielder couldn't take the ball from stopper either, because when Tottenham's center midfielder close to stopper, Tottenham's winger cut the connection between Manchester City's stopper and center midfielder. Tottenham's center forward covered Manchester City defensive midfielder with shadow marking and didn't let him take the ball comfortably either. So to pass the ball forward, stopper's only pass option was left back. But left back couldn't be effective with the ball, because when left back had the ball, Tottenham's winger took position between Manchester City center midfielder and left back, so left back couldn't pass to center midfielder, and Tottenham's center forward kept covering Manchester City defensive midfielder with shadow marking. Only Manchester City's winger could take the ball, so left back passed to winger. After winger took the ball, he could pass to center midfielder. Now Tottenham's winger couldn't cut the connection between Manchester City's winger and center midfielder. When Manchester City's left back had the ball before Manchester City's winger, Tottenham's winger took position closer to left back more than Manchester City's center midfielder. Tottenham's winger took position closer to left back because now the ball was more closer to goalpost. When Manchester City's stoppers had the ball, Tottenham's midfielders or forwards didn't have to take position closer to stoppers because stoppers were not closer to Tottenham's goalpost like Manchester City's fullbacks. So because Tottenham's winger was taking position closer to left back, he couldn't take position quickly between center midfielder and winger when winger had the ball. But Manchester City couldn't use this advantageous situation either, because this time, Tottenham's one of the stoppers close to the free Manchester City center midfielder and didn't let him take the ball comfortably. Stopper could close center midfielder comfortably because Tottenham's defenders had numerical equality against Manchester City's forward and center midfielders with 5 vs 5. So, closing the center midfielder didn't create a disadvantage situation for Tottenham's defense line. So basically, Tottenham's center forward, wingers, and center midfielders tried to cut the connection between Manchester City's defenders and midfielders. If Manchester City's center midfielders found free space in all space, Tottenham's stoppers covered them and didn't let them take the ball comfortably. Then Manchester City used different things but they didn't work. For example, sometimes right center midfielder close to left half space as an extra player, but he couldn't be effective because when he shifted to left half space, Tottenham's left center midfielder and left winger shifted a little bit too. Sometimes Manchester City's left back shifted to wing more, but he couldn't be effective either because this time Tottenham's right winger shifted to wing a little bit more and covered left back. Now let's look at the second match. Against Everton, Manchester City had the same system in set attacks. Everton met Manchester City with 4-5-1 lineup. Center forward covered Manchester City defensive midfielder with shadow marking like Tottenham's center forward, but he closed stoppers more, so Everton midfielders had to be more careful about covering Manchester City defensive midfielder. In Everton's set defense system, there were more man markings than Tottenham. Everton's 4 midfielders directly matched with Manchester City's 2 fullbacks and 2 center midfielders. But sometimes it made a problem for Everton, because if Manchester City's one midfielder close to a different space, for example if right center midfielder close to left half space, this time, because Everton's players didn't use zone marking, this player could be free. Against Tottenham, Manchester City's players tried to use this to make game too, but Tottenham didn't use man marking and with little shifts, they could cover space effectively. I explained it before in this video. Everton had one extra player in midfield. Defensive midfielder didn't match with Manchester City's any player directly. He close to the space where needed help. And also when Manchester City center forward close to midfield to take the ball, he covers center forward and didn't let him to take the ball comfortably. Everton had 4 defenders against Manchester City's 3 forwards and 2 center midfielders, so there was a numerical disadvantage situation for Everton. It helped Manchester City to close to Everton's penalty box because defenders were not comfortable to cover Manchester City's attackers closely and aggressively. Especially from all spaces, Manchester City's players could find free space because stoppers and fullbacks didn't have a particular role to cover the Manchester City player who was in half space. Half space is a space that, because between wing and center, it can confuse defenders' minds more easily. Because if defenders focus on half space too much, this time center could be free, but if they don't focus on half space, this time attackers can be effective from half spaces because half space is not too far away from center like wing. Sometimes both stopper and fullback didn't close center midfielders. Stopper didn't because center forward could escape from its back. Fullback didn't because when Manchester City's winger used wing to escape from defense line's back, fullback had to focus on to wing instead of center midfielder. So sometimes Manchester City found spaces from all spaces. Tottenham didn't let Manchester City find free spaces in all spaces, because Tottenham had 5 defenders, so right and left stoppers could match with Manchester City's right and left center midfielders directly, and because of that, fullbacks could focus on to wingers too, so they had particular roles, and because of that, Manchester City center midfielders couldn't confuse Tottenham defenders' minds. Manchester City couldn't be so effective against Everton, because even Manchester City center midfielders found space in between midfield and forward lines half spaces. Everton's defensive midfielder shifted to defense line to be the extra player in defense line. So before Manchester City's players could go forward, he shifted to defense line. And this time, like Tottenham, they made Manchester City 3 forwards and 2 center midfielders with 1 by 1. They equalized numerically. So if you make a summary from 2 matches, if you meet Manchester City defensive midfielder and 2 fullbacks closely, they can make game from behind comfortably. And if you don't let Manchester City use all spaces in closer to penalty box, Manchester City is stuck. But to defend all spaces, defending teams' players need particular and clear roles about defending all spaces. Or players can't decide who has to defend half space, and this time, Manchester City can find free spaces from all spaces. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope this video can be beneficial for you. You can follow my Twitter and Instagram account, and also you can check my blog. May football be with you.